Thank you all for joining in. My name is Gurinder Raju, and I'm going to be talking to you today about how WorkSpaces is powering the future of work. And I'll be joined by a great cast of speakers. I'll be joined by Ray, who's going to talk about what's new in WorkSpaces and what are the newer capabilities that we added to the product that you should be excited about and incorporating in your workload. I'll be joined by Corey from Deloitte, who is going to talk about how Deloitte uses WorkSpaces at scale and how WorkSpaces enables Deloitte to meet the needs of multiple different personas. And I'll be joined by Robert Green from Dizzion, who is going to talk about how Dizzion is using multiple workspace intelligence features to build agentic capabilities and boost the productivity of their end users and admins. And towards the end, I'll come back to the future of work and have a discussion with you on what are the patterns that are changing and what is that we are building to define and drive the future of work. You don't want to miss that out. And if you stay a little bit longer, I'll be around to answer any of the questions and maybe show you a cool couple demo or two to see that what's cooking. All of you have been going through unprecedented pace of change. And it's a little bit unique to end user computing because it's at the intersection of so many things. Computing, virtualization, cybersecurity, data center exits, agentic AI, agents, frontier agents, productivity, right? And I can relate to, I met so many customers who talked about this, just too much changing, right? And let's pick up the first change from this unprecedented pace of changes that you have been tackling, which is the increase in on-premise virtualization software. 2x, 3x, 5x, 10x, in many cases more. And this is creating real pressure on you to accelerate the exit of the data centers that you might still have some workloads running in. It doesn't stop there. You have been tackling major life cycle events, both on software, operating system versions, and hardware versions. And it's very time-consuming and expensive, especially when it gets coupled with the cost unpredictability that I talked about in the previous slide. Keeps going, Agentic AI is accelerating across the entire industry, and as you heard in Matt's keynote, and also Andy commented about it, is we at Amazon believe that it's gonna yield and deliver remarkable results. And I see that in my own team, my product and engineering teams have incorporated that in their daily work, and I'm loving the increased pace that I see on a daily basis. All of you are being asked by your leaders to incorporate agentic AI. So you are tackling this along with the OS lifecycle version events and cost and predictability. With great power comes great responsibility, right? Like with the agentic AI increase, you are having to tackle a new surface area of threat vectors, prompt injection, many of your end users, many of your employees knowingly, unknowingly, leaking some of your confidential information to chatbots or other online Gen AI tools, and it's not good. So you're having to rethink the tools you use to tackle these, right? It's a lot of changes that you're adapting to. I want to do a show of hands, right? Like on how many of you actually relate to it. Yeah, you're telling me the story. That's how my last 12 months or 18 months have been. Just do a show of hands. Many hands showing up, and then you are not alone. And I'll chat with you. I'll talk about on how WorkSpaces is enabling you to navigate this pace of change with the capabilities that we have. Before I do that, I'll just quickly refresh your mind about the portfolio of products that we have under the WorkSpaces brand. You have a full virtual desktop available to you, persistent, non-persistent. You have application only virtualization. We have our own purpose-built streaming protocol that we obsess on and keep investing in to deliver a delightful end-user experience. We have thin client devices for lightweight endpoints. We have a secure browser. If all your end users use SaaS applications, it's a great option for you. And then, of course, beyond all the native products that we have, we also give you the capability with the WorkSpaces core to bring your preferred end user and admin experience to WorkSpaces infrastructure. Let's go through one by one, a little more detail, right? Start with desktops. WorkSpaces gives you the option of Windows and Linux operating system choices. Client OS, server OS. We have the broadest selection of Linux flavors across any cloud provider. And then you can use them in multiple configurations, tuning it for the workload that you have. With the persistent desktop, with non-persistent desktop, you can. We are present in 20 regions and counting. Over the next 9 to 18 months, you will see that we'll be globally expanding, which means that any new region that AWS launches will also be present at the day of the launch or soon after. We support the different identity choices that, and then you can pick the identity choice, whether it's a cloud directory or it's a on-premise directory. And then we give you the option of variety of bundle sizes, whether it's storage, compute, networking, and you can tune it to the needs that you have. We support multiple differentiating features, Amazon Global Accelerator, which routes the end user traffic to the Amazon Fiber as quickly as possible. And we have multi-region resiliency, which gives you options for business continuity and have a real tangible disaster recovery plan. So between persistent and non-persistent desktops, varied bundle sizes, global region availability, and flexible identity choices, it's a very versatile, scalable desktop infrastructure for you. Let's move to application streaming. Not everyone needs the full desktop experience. Not every one of your end users need a start menu. And many of your end users just work on a select set of applications. And you can use WorkSpaces applications, previously called AppStream, to give them an app-only experience. And tens and thousands of our customers have used this to SaaSify their native applications and make them instantly accessible to their end users all over the world, just like a web app, right? And this model helps with the distribution challenge. No more complex software installations, right? Like a native applications become available just like a URL. Again, I talked about the display protocol. Delightful end user experience is super important, and this is the backbone of all the products and services that you see here. And we continue making foundational investments. This is our in-house, our own DCV protocol. We also give you choices for thin clients, not only our own thin client, but from partners as well. And then this gives you the option to decouple the operating system from the client device. You can have a powerful desktop in the cloud, and then you can have a very lightweight thin client device. I talked about the secure browser. This is very compelling, and over time we have innovated on very persona-specific solutions, right? And secure browser starts at $7 a user a month, and for your end users who are primarily using SaaS applications, this is a great choice. And of course, all the other capabilities that I talked about, we also give you the choice of bringing your own preferred admin and end user experience and then make it run in the cloud on AWS and WorkSpaces reliant infrastructure. So in summary, you get a comprehensive toolkit of solutions. Continue moving then. How does it help solve the challenges that we talked about earlier? WorkSpaces core gives you access of the complete feature set of your partner. And You can bring your workload without changes. So if you're getting pressure from your leadership to accelerate data center exit, this is a great tool for you. Talked about OS lifecycle. Hundreds of thousands of end users are running already on Windows 11 workspaces in the cloud on our services, and across workspaces, pools, and personal both. So we've enabled these end users to onboard onto Windows 11 with our inbuilt migrate APIs, moving from a previous version to a newer version. And many of these customers actually continue relying on their previous hardware, moving their full power desktop to the cloud by keeping their endpoint and client devices very simple. Agentic AI, accelerated agentic AI adoption, right? We, behind the scenes, have built multiple intelligence capabilities. Many of them are visible to you, many of them are not visible to you. And customers are leveraging them. You'll see an example of that later today when Dizzion talks about how they are using it to build agentic AI capabilities. And then last, new cybersecurity threat vector surface that has emerged. And then just to give you an example, like a defense agency in Asia Pacific rolled out secure browser to their tens of thousands of users, to protect themselves against threats like prompt injection and unintentional leakage of data through any of the chatbots and Gen AI tools. Pixel streaming gives you ephemeral access to the browser, which is completely isolated from the client device, and it gives you great protection against these cybersecurity threats. These are not the only challenges we help you with. We have been innovating for a decade, and innovating by introducing new pricing models. WorkSpaces went GA in 2014. We launched the hourly model soon after that, and we give you continued and increased selection of both client OS, server OS, Linux choices, and as I said, we keep innovating based upon the persona. One size does not fit all, and we don't want you to over-provision. To that, we launched AppStream in 2016, and we launched a secure browser somewhere late 2020, 2021. The pace is only accelerating, And if you look at the last 3 years, there are so many favorite features that I have that I've been very deeply connected to in launching, right? The selection keeps on increasing. We have launched new versions of Linux, Rocky, RHEL, Ubuntu, launched multi-region resilience, Amazon Global Accelerator for faster, end-user experience. And we launched WorkSpaces Core. AV conferencing is optimized across all major vendors. What does it mean? With this accelerated pace of innovation, AWS is recognized as a leader in desktop as a service by Gartner for second year in a row, and I would say it's a great testimonial to our capabilities and obsession and our continued perseverance in innovating in this area for the last 10 years. With that, I will hand over to Ray, who will go through some of these newer features in a bit more detail. And thank you, Ray.
Thank you, Gurinder. All right. Hello. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Ray Wang. I lead one of the product management teams in Amazon WorkSpaces, focusing on end-user experience. So today, I'm excited to share with you some of the recent launches that we made this year. Amazon WorkSpaces serves customers across different industry segments, right? So from assembly lines to the trading floor, from hospitals to the government agencies, WorkSpaces has become the trusted solution for many of our customers across a diverse set of cases. We're always looking to hear from you and learn from our customers about their unique needs. So even after this session, we'll be happy to talk to you about your needs, how we can iterate on WorkSpaces to meet your needs better. Right. As you can see from here, organizations of all sizes trust WorkSpaces with their desktop and application streaming needs. These logos represent more than just customers to us. To us, they're our partners in innovation, right? They help us to continue to refine WorkSpaces to meet the evolving demands of enterprise modern workplaces. All right, so let's talk about our 2025 launches, right? 2025 has been a great year for WorkSpaces. We made some headways across security, performance, and usability. All right, let's dive into a few areas where we made some strides this year. Let's start with delivering delightful end-user experience. What does that mean, right? A delightful end-user experience to us means that the virtual desktops or the application should feel very responsive and natural, just like the physical one. If a user can use their local laptop to do something, we feel like they should be able to do the exact same thing, maybe even better with their WorkSpaces, even under challenging network conditions. So this year, to deliver this delightful end-user experience, we first improved our peripheral support. We launched generic USB redirection to help users use some of these common USB devices, such as payment devices or barcode scanners that takes care of a variety of use cases that have peripherals needs. We also added support for WebAuthn redirection, which allows users to use security keys such as YubiKeys or even Windows Hello within their WorkSpaces session. And in addition, we have collaborated with Wacom, the industry's leading professional drawing tablet maker, to give professional artists such as visual effects artists or different professional artists a way to use Wacom tablets and all the special features they have in their Wacom tablets, plus their Wacom pens, all within their WorkSpaces seamlessly under ultra-low latency, right? So this is something called Wacom Bridge that we have launched with them. In addition, right, for audio and video workloads like web conferencing, we have collaborated closely with Microsoft this year to launch a public preview of Teams optimization for VDI. This feature offloads the Teams audio and video packets from the remote WorkSpaces host to your local client and significantly reduces the CPU and memory consumption. In addition to that, we also improved international keyboard support. Now, with special languages like Hebrew or languages with dead keys, users can seamlessly type whatever they want in their WorkSpaces. And lastly, we launched a feature called Client Auto Update. This makes it super easy for users to get the latest features and security updates from WorkSpaces without any administrative intervention. All right. On the networking front, we also integrated with Amazon Global Accelerator, so AGA. This dramatically improves connection stability and performance worldwide across the globe. This means fewer dropped connections, more smooth streaming experience, and more consistent end-user experience, even for remote workers living in challenging network environments. The second major area of innovation for us is on global selection and presence. Our customers have told us that they would like more flexibility, especially regarding the compute and storage options associated with WorkSpaces. So they want to use the latest and greatest from EC2 instances that can exactly match their application's need while keeping the cost in check. So this year, We're happy to announce that we have launched 175 new instance types for Workspaces applications, including the latest compute optimized, memory optimized, and accelerated instance types. For storage, we also increased to up to 500 gigabyte of disk storage, up from 200. And most importantly, we launched a new feature that allows you to import your own image to Workspaces applications. A lot of our customers have told us that they have their own golden image CI/CD pipeline, or they have their custom tools that helps them to maintain the freshness of those image and keeps them updated. Now you can keep all of your image pipelines and then export those when you're ready and import them into Workspaces applications. This greatly reduces the manual operational efforts that admins had to do previously to use Workspaces applications. Lastly, we also introduced 4 new regions support, which brings the total number of regions across the globe to 20 for Workspaces applications. And that's not all, right? So global presence and selection is also important for the customers that want to use our partner solutions like Citrix DaaS with Workspaces infrastructure. So this year, we launched a new feature called Workspaces Core Managed Instances. With this greatly simplifies VDI deployment for these kind of customers, allowing them to use highly customizable instance configurations, including almost all the EC2 instance types that you can think of, right? And they can do it all within the security and governance boundaries of their own AWS account. So this is great news for those customers as well. All right, and lastly, another area of focus for us this year is with our secure browser product. For secure browser, we first made significant performance improvements in session start time. We up to 50% more faster, reducing the friction of launching secure browser sessions. Our new 2-bar configurability also allows organizations to customize the user experience while maintaining security control. Right? We also launched CloudWatch metrics for secure browser, allowing the admins, giving them the visibility they need to into the customer end user usage patterns and also potentially security events. Most importantly, on the security front, we also introduced 3 features this year: inline redaction for sensitive content, web content filtering, and session logging. These combination of these 3 features allowed IT admins to maintain control over the potential data exfiltration risks. All right, with that, I will hand it over to Corey from Deloitte to talk about how they leverage these Workspaces innovations for different personas in Deloitte. Cool. Yeah.
All right, thanks, Trey. Hello, my name is Corey Wheaton. I'm a senior cloud engineer at Deloitte. Oh, there it is. I work primarily on our VDI team supporting our AWS Workspaces environment. Today, I want to talk to you about our journey to Workspaces. So let's start with who are we, right? Some of you guys are probably coming from Fortune 500 companies, maybe a US-based company, maybe even you're coming from Deloitte. But there's probably a good chance either way that you've probably come across the green dot at some point, right? And why is that? That's because nearly 90% of Fortune 500 companies trust Deloitte. And we are also supporting over 8,500 US-based firms, right? So Deloitte employs about 180,000, maybe more, US employees all around the world. So with that, there's a need for virtual desktops. So what did it look like before we had Workspaces? Well, our team was supporting 7 on-prem environments, right? And if you've had an on-prem VDI environment, you're probably familiar with some of the challenges, right? Operational overhead, hardware that you have to manage yourself, doing your own OS upgrades, server patching, compliance, you name it, right? And our personal favorite, the chargeback model, right? What does that look like? How do we charge our users? Do we just give them a flat rate? Do we try and estimate? If you don't know what your environment's going to look like in 6 to 12 months, how do you estimate how much each machine costs, right? So then, there it is. In 2020, right, COVID hits, and everyone gets sent home, right? But not only are people now working from home, we still have our new hires that are being onboarded. We also have our intern programs that are still running. We also have just your everyday break-fix situations. So how do we do that when we have a supply chain bottleneck, when it's hard to get physical assets, right? So we needed a lot of virtual desktops, and we needed them quickly, right? So in comes WorkSpaces, right? A fully managed service that we could use to scale out seamlessly and quickly. With WorkSpaces, we didn't have to worry about the hardware management, right? We don't have to do our own server patches or upgrades or anything like that anymore. And we don't have to worry about how much space are we going to need in 6 months, or how quickly can we rack and stack more hardware to get that space available. Amazon handles that for us, right? So WorkSpaces gave us the ability to scale up, scale out, and we can do it globally across 8 regions, all from the same pane, all in the same console, right? But who uses WorkSpaces? Right? At Deloitte, we have a lot of different personas. We have a lot of different types of people using WorkSpaces. From your daily task worker, or maybe it's an executive who just needs to log in to check their email, or maybe join a Teams call, right? Maybe we have project teams that are using WorkSpaces for their contractors. Maybe they don't have time to ship a laptop across the globe to get their contract working. They need to start work today. We also have a lot of developers who are using WorkSpaces as their secure development environment, right? So we give them a full-blown 8 CPU machine, and they can have their own development environment. How can we deploy all these machines so quickly, right? In the heart of COVID, when everyone needs a virtual machine right away, our development teams were able to create a self-service provisioning process to where no matter where you are in the world or whatever time in the world it is, you didn't have to wait for the US team to wake up or submit a ticket and wait for the ticketing process to get a workspace. You could deploy your own machine. And at the heart of COVID, I think our team was supporting north of 15,000 workspaces, but that was just for personal. Today, our team is supporting WorkSpaces personal, secure browser, and even pooled. And that just gives us the ability to fulfill even more use cases across the company. And in partnership with AWS, we've come up with a simpler workflow, a smoother workflow to create and manage our existing workspace images. And that's helped us in a couple areas, like our Windows 11 migration and onboarding Ubuntu workspaces for our Linux friends. We've also started exploring a simpler authentication flow, a more modern identity alignment with Entra ID workspaces. We have enhanced observability with Project Hawkeye. And of course, if you haven't heard about it already, we are exploring the capabilities of workspaces and how we can develop, enhance, and optimize the next AI capability, right? And so with that, I will turn it over to Gurinder.
Thank you, Corey.
Thank you.
As you can see, this is my favorite slide, right? I'm incorporating it for the second time. I like this so much because this, shows and presents the work of the team. It shows the accelerated pace of what we are doing for our customers and how it enables customers like Deloitte to leverage our solutions and meet the demanding needs of different personas that they take care of, right? So I talked about on how we started early on, introducing new pricing models, newer selection, and newer solutions for each price to performance point and different personas that you need. Workspaces, secure browser, application, streaming with AppStream. And since then, the pace has accelerated, right? Like identity choices, networking features, and user features, enabling you to, use cloud directory, multi-region resilience, AGA. There are 4 features in here that I like to particularly call out, right? If you see the dancing boxes, right? I think those are the 4 that I'll call out, which gives me a good segue into the next section. These 4 features are WorkSpaces core, when we launched it in, I think 3 years ago, around kind of 2022, and enabling you to bring your M365 applications onto WorkSpaces, the entire WorkSpaces suite of products. The third one is the image onboarding improvements that we have done, where we use AI behind the scenes to self-heal a lot of the issues that might be there in the image that would have otherwise required a lot of work to be done by you. And we launched WorkSpaces Core Managed Instances earlier this year to give you the full selection of your partner feature set and the best of AWS. Right? Together, these features help you. These features help us to meet you where you are and accelerate the move from your on-premise environments and moving on to cloud-enabled, fully managed solutions, on a digital workplace. So we have multiple partners who have integrated with WorkSpaces Core, right? Like with Citrix and Omnissa. We have coverage and you have coverage of vast majority of on-premise workloads, and which you could migrate to, the AWS and WorkSpaces infrastructure. And with WorkSpot, LeoStream, and Dizzion, this gives you a fully managed digital workplace solution powered by WorkSpaces and AWS. So the next section I want to talk to you about is not only these capabilities, WorkSpaces native capabilities, WorkSpaces partner capabilities, but there has been a lot of innovation that we and the broader AWS have collaborated on, which gives you intelligence capabilities. So for example, AWS has launched multiple MCP feature set where WorkSpaces APIs are already integrated for you to build agentic solutions. At the same time, newer agentic applications like Quick Suite and Kiro are enabling the customers to build, and accelerate their own product feature set. So with that, I will hand it over to Robert Green, who is CEO of Dizzion, to talk about on how they're leveraging these intelligence capabilities and workspaces broadly to boost their end user and admin productivity.
All right, good afternoon. I'm Rob Green, CEO of Dizzion. Today I'm going to show you something that will hopefully fundamentally change the way you think about desktop as a service. So imagine an AI assistant that lives inside your desktop, one that actually knows you. It knows your applications, your workflows, your data, your history. Not a generic chatbot, a personalized intelligence that understands your context and anticipates your needs. What if your help desk could answer an issue before the user puts a ticket in? What if your finance team could ask a simple question and get detailed cloud cost breakdown directly from their desktop? This isn't science fiction. This is what we are working on now. Oops. Hit the wrong button? There we go. All right. Sorry about that. So first, a quick intro on Dizzion. So we're 14 years old. We're the only vendor-managed DaaS that combines enterprise desktops with instant provisioning. Traditional VDI deployments take about 4 months. We can deliver secure, compliant virtual desktops in about 4 hours. That's not an incremental improvement. That's a paradigm shift. Our platform is end-to-end zero trust access, always on compliance, and everything in between. Built on AWS, purpose-built for the enterprise. So let me give you a quick tour of our product suite and dive a little bit into the AI innovation. So our philosophy is no assembly required, batteries included. So we have a DaaS platform that is your complete virtual desktop infrastructure, industry-leading protocol, automation, unified management. Our cloud PC is our persistent cloud desktop on AWS, again, built for enterprise-grade performance. Overwatch monitoring, essentially allowing you to be proactive and know problems before your end users do. Our Halo browser isolation, not secure enterprise browser, but secure every browser. Security Pulse, which is our continuous compliance automation for HIPAA, SOC, as well as PCI. And our managed instances, which gives us full service or co-managed, again, to flex to meet what you need. So our new Buy Now portal is our self-service deployment that allows you to get to production even faster. So now here's where it gets really interesting. Let me show you what we are leveraging WorkSpaces intelligence to bring agentic AI to the desktop. So we've integrated WorkSpaces intelligence across 5 key areas. Each one represents a real problem that enterprise struggle with today, and an AI-powered solution that's becoming more and more a reality. So the first is self-healing image onboarding. Rapid, reliable, and repeatable process to onboard your OS image, so you can import that image that you've been working on, part of your CI/CD pipeline, or whatever you've used in the past. Flexibility at flexibility for your journey. So that really means we support core bundles and core managed instances, providing flexibility to use WorkSpaces your way. Dizzion's AI Cloud PC, Ask Ray, which I'll be talking about more after this, our AI system that lives inside the desktop. Users can ask questions, get help, and solve problems without data ever leaving their desktop. Our AI-powered troubleshooting, correlating logs, metrics, and sessions across systems, takes hours for normal admins. Ray can do it instantly, which I will show here shortly. And then AI-driven cost management. Finance teams want cost visibility. We give them democratized access. So here's the secret sauce. So we've connected Ray to both WorkSpaces and Dizzion MCP servers. We're giving Ray full context across infrastructure and desktop as a service layers. Ray isn't a separate tool users have to learn. It is embedded in the desktop experience, helping users work smarter, not harder. Each user gets personalized assistance, but user A's experience does not impact user B's experience. So here's what sets Ray apart. Context from every layer: AWS infrastructure, WorkSpaces, Dizzion DAS, and the end user's environment. That's not just data, that's intelligence. So let me show you what this looks like in practice, all right? We'll start with a real-world experience. So everyone got no support ticket that says, my desktop is frozen, right? That's it. No context, nothing else. My desktop is frozen, and I've got a very frustrated user. In the old world, here's what happens. The tier 1 asks the user for more details. The user takes about an hour or so to get back. And then tier 1 escalates it up to tier 2. Tier 2 goes and checks out the logs. And then, they may find something and they may not. Days pass, users still frustrated. In the Ray world, using simple natural language interaction, Ray goes out, correlates, and pulls back from the various MCP servers across all the layers with context that talk about session state, performance metrics, recent changes, everything, and does that in minutes, and not hours. The user says desktop is freezing. Ray translates that into a multi-system diagnostic query that correlates the data and delivers actionable insights in minutes, not hours. So let me double-click into it to kind of show you behind the scenes. So this is leveraging Kiro, as you can see on the screen. So it's Monday morning. Users are complaining about slow desktops. Your admin opens up Overwatch, sees the graphs, right? Opens in, then goes to the AWS console, opens up CloudWatch metrics, cross-references with recent changes, looks at network telemetry. 40 to 60 minutes later, they find a root cause. Or they can just ask Ray. And if we look under the hood using Kiro, you can see that Dizzion Ray actually goes in and leverages both Dizzion MCP servers and WorkSpaces MCP servers to investigate the root cause. Ray sees everything the admin would have to correlate manually, but they see it instantly. But Ray doesn't just stop at correlating data. It finds a solution and prevents the problem from happening in the future. This is not about replacing admins, though. This is about giving admins a Iron Man suit, allowing them to spend more time doing strategic work versus correlating and troubleshooting. So now let me show you something that will make the finance team happy. So here's a scenario. It plays out in every enterprise. Your finance team needs cost breakdown for their cloud spend. They don't have AWS console access, and nor should they. That non-technical user from their desktop in finance asks a simple question in natural language, and Ray connects to the AWS and WorkSpaces MCP servers, pulls the data, and responds with a clear cost breakdown with insights. But here's where it gets really, really interesting. Ray asks, do you want me to automate that for you next month? The user says, sure. And then Ray will automatically generate a script and ensure that that report is on their desktop for the next month. So seeing is believing. So I put together a very, very quick video. It's going to go by very quickly. But this is kind of going over those 3 use cases that I just talked about. So first, we're going to show how Ray allows users to interact with their desktop. So interact with their files, interact with asking things about the files, interacting and allowing that user to pull back data very quickly, as well as open up files. So, and this is just one use case. Ray can do a multitude of things on the desktop and again, allow that end user to have that superpower. So at the end here, it's going to open up a file. There you go. So in the second use case, we talked about the finance use case, where the finance non-technical user in simple language asks a question, and I'm showing you the back end. So obviously this is kind of showing the verbose mode, but it goes through, pulls out the data, correlates the data, creates insights, and then visualizes it. And then automatically creates a script to automate it going forward. So the final use case is Ray can take a trouble ticket, again, going back to that, my desktop is frozen, correlate that through the multiple layers. So that's the AWS layer, the Dizzion layer, the WorkSpaces layer, and actually correlate all the components that could go into making up that desktop from monitoring Overwatch as well as CloudWatch, and then pull back a solution. And the root cause, as well as the solution, in a matter of minutes. Now, this is drastically sped up for our demonstration, but it's still a matter of minutes to get to the root cause. And that's my time.
Thank you so much, Rob. It's so cool to see. It's so cool to see Dizzion using WorkSpaces and broader AWS capabilities, and Kiro and like WorkSpaces API is integrated into the AWS MCP servers, enabling these capabilities, enabling these kind of agentic features. I want to talk about the future of work, right? Like, where are things going? And what is WorkSpaces building to drive it? And what is that you should be thinking about while making your choices in how you design your digital workplace strategy and actively shape it? I want to take you through how the era of applications has evolved. So it's a little bit of a sneak preview, or kind of like a walk back on how these application frameworks, desktops started, right? Like the first era was native applications. These applications are built in, like interacting deeply with the operating system in languages C#, or C++. And there is a very clear boundary on what's remote, what's local, and the end user uses a desktop that's local and connects to either desktops or applications. This is kind of, I think a lot of it you will relate with. This is the native era of applications, right? These applications had deep performance capabilities because you are able to use the operating system. But you require very fine-grained management on updating them, version management of it, and your end users required to install them. So it's not controlled. Distribution is not controlled by you. How did this evolve? This evolved into the SaaS era of applications where distribution is a lot easier, right? Like applications are well built with web browser as the as the client, and it makes your applications accessible to everybody. So it solves the distribution problem. So SaaS transformation has been happening, but it is still slow to the point where I think administrators and decision makers have to think about, will I get the same performance, right? Like if I move to a SaaS application, and there are many deeply entrenched workflows which kind of slow down this transformation. While the transformation or kind of the acceleration to SaaS applications is happening, right? Like a new era of applications is coming in. What does it look like? In this era, end users, customers will continue using native applications. They continue using SaaS applications. You're not going to change them overnight, But there are 3 new patterns that are going to emerge or are kind of already emerging. The first one is in-app agents. These agents live within the applications that are already being used, whether they are native applications or the SaaS applications, right? Like this can be an in-app agent on the sidebar, which has the context of how you're using the tool, and helps accelerate the usage. The second one is agentic assistant on teammates. You heard some of the announcements in Matt's keynote about new frontier agents and teammates that AWS has launched. This is a different pattern of how agentic usage, works, or agents work alongside the end user as an assistant, or they have an independent identity of their own as a teammate. And the third one is born native agentic applications. It's a completely new experience framework, and together, I would say, with these 3 new components, this is the agentic era of applications, right? So starting with native applications, transitioning to SaaS applications, and then accelerating to agentic applications. I want to take a look at this era a little bit, or this new paradigm a little bit in more detail to talk about, what is that we should be thinking about, Let's talk about experience frameworks, right? Reflect on your typical workday. How do you do work, right? And you will see that your work is dominated by create, edit loops. You edit a lot, How is that going to change? I believe these loops get changed from edit to create and review loops, where the experience has to be optimized for shortening the time it takes for you to review and hand it back to agentic application for further iterating on the creation of that content. What does it really mean on how you shape the digital workplace? If you look at traditional operating systems, they were really optimized for the former, which is edit, and the entire UI framework that the legacy operating systems built was to give you a familiar framework on the edit functionality across different UI applications. But the new experience frameworks are going to focus on, if you see kind of the animation, what is that square box which the agents and the humans use to access these applications? Is it a traditional operating system-based desktop? I think newer patterns are going to emerge where the experience and the collection of those applications is influenced by shortening the review loops, not by the legacy UI framework of operating systems. While that transition happens, in-app agents are going to continue filling the gap, which is while you think about the adoption of born agentic applications, these in-app agents continue helping you utilize the UIs that you're already invested in and still accelerate your work. So the first thing we talk about here is about the new experience frameworks. What does the future of work or a future digital workplace, how you should be thinking about the experience of that, you can actively shape it. It's not with the legacy UI framework of operating systems. New experience frameworks are going to emerge. And the acceleration to agentic applications, which I call the right shift, right? From native applications to SaaS applications to agentic applications, we see very, very fast transition, right? Like you see in-app agents, agentic applications, different modes of agentic usage, happening. And many of the organizations are actually completely skipping the SaaS modernizations and skipping from native to agentic applications. I think there are 2 or 3 key points to make here on how this acceleration itself leverages agentic AI. Many of the times, organizations don't step into a modernization journey because they think that I have 20 million lines of code in my native application, right? And it's going to take me a decade to modernize it. I think a lot of that fear is fueled by lack of precise understanding of how your end users are using that application, right? And we are going to give deep visibility to you to understand the sweet spot, the 80-20, or what is the 20% of the feature set that 80% of your end users is using, and what are the features and capabilities that users don't care about, that you don't have to port, right? And you talked about AWS, Matt talked about AWS Transform in his keynote, that it enables up to 5x pace of modernization of typical Windows applications, right? So with deep visibility into usage patterns and agentic applications like AWS Transform that understand your code base, you can really, really curate a strategy, and then you will see kind of more offerings and products from our side. So all of this is good, but what does it mean for boosted productivity of your end users and admins today? What it can do for you today, right? It's not a theoretical concept. You heard Matt introduce frontier agents, Kiro autonomous agent, AWS security agent, and AWS DevOps agents, right? We call them frontier agents because they're not typical agents. They have deep understanding. They are even beyond the research agents to kind of pick up the lexicon of agentic AI, But what is next? What is the next in line of frontier agents that AWS and WorkSpaces are going to work on? An admin-focused agent that helps you pick the right flavor of the product, helps you onboard to the WorkSpaces service, helps you manage the workload, helps you optimize the workload both from a cost and performance perspective, and it's able to take actions on your behalf. Right? Many of you have actually seen demos of it. If you had an EBC with us earlier this week, we have shown you demos of all these 3 capabilities: experience frameworks, boosted productivity, as well as kind of transformation journey, right? So if you haven't seen the demo, please ping your point of contact with the WorkSpaces or end user computing services on AWS, and we'll love to get in touch with you, give you a sneak preview, and take input from you. Continuing on this, what is next in the line of frontier agents, right? We talk about computer use a lot, computer use capabilities. They apply to SaaS applications. But how do we really, really enable the thick applications to move fast and act like agentic applications as well, right? There's going to be a new flavor of computer use which is built for thick applications, which enables these agents to work on your behalf as an assistant or as a teammate, working on these remote thick applications and completely automating your business workflows. This is also one of the demos that is available to you, so please ping us. So new experience frameworks, accelerated right shift towards agentic applications, boosted productivity, what does it really mean for the choices that you have to make? I believe there should at least be one pilot that you are running or need to run, which is pure, which is free from the legacy choices that you have made or you have had to make, And working with your leaders, you should be looking to invest in this pure pilot and expanding it, because I believe your leadership is also starting to believe in the kind of, the agentic AI and how it's going to help, make your organizations more nimble. I will end by saying that you can choose to retrofit your legacy choices 365 days of the year, or you can choose to reinvent, and we'll be with you every day of the week, every day of the year, working alongside with you. Thanks for your time. We appreciate you coming in and love chatting with all of you. We still have some time left in the hour. I think we can take some questions, and I'll still be around along with the other speakers to have a conversation with you. Thank you.